David Domelin was a great light in his mother Roby's life. Tilted sideways in a sunny yellow armchair, eyes bright with unshed tears, she describes him as her soul child. Like most Israeli teens, David joined the Israeli Defense Forces when he turned 18. Afterward, he studied philosophy and psychology, eventually striving for his master's degree in the philosophy of education at Tel Aviv University. Mahmoud Awad lived in the West Bank. He loved to play soccer, according to his mother, Bushra. Her eyes seem to smile as she recalls him. He was a sweet boy. He would have done anything for her, and he was her whole world. Roby shared that David believed in peace, and as an officer serving in the West Bank, he struggled with his post. David opposed the Israeli presence in the West Bank. How could he patrol this area? I can only guess at Mahmoud's anger and fear being under Israeli surveillance. David was killed by a sniper while patrolling a checkpoint. Mahmoud was killed protesting the deaths of 2 Palestinian men and the raiding of their homes. So much blood has been shed, Israeli and Palestinian, over land and religious claims to it, to the right to live and be seen as full people. By all accounts, their mothers, Roby and Bushra, should have hated each other. But soon their lives would intertwine in an unexpected way. The High Holy Days are the most important days on our Jewish calendar. This time in our year is centered around repentance and forgiveness. It demands that we hold ourselves accountable for the words and actions we used over the past year. The month leading up to the Yamim Noraim, the days of awe, we spend in self-reflection, considering our interactions with others. We think about how we spoke to our colleagues, to our friends, to our loved ones. We think about our actions, if they were consistent with our character. We swallow our pride and hopefully apologize to those whom we have harmed. We think about the harmful things said and done to us, and we ask ourselves, are we ready to forgive, to move on? Usually, the harm we cause to ourselves or to others is small by comparison to the tragic consequences of violent conflict. But our tradition is one that speaks to the most extraordinarily challenging events along with the mundane. Roby and Bushra's loss was extraordinary, and therefore mitigating their pain and finding a way forward must be extraordinary too. And it was an open question whether they would be able to find a path forward. The 2 women met through an organization called the Parents Circle, a group for bereaved Israelis and Palestinians attempting just that. Roby reached out, searching for meaning in her son's death. She thought about forgiveness. What did it mean? In her search, Roby met Palestinian mothers living in the West Bank for the first time. She observed, when I looked at them, I realized that we all share the same pain. For Bushra, this understanding and forgiveness did not come so readily. She knew a few women in the group, and they urged her to participate. She recalled, I used to say, you expect me to go shake hands with those who killed my son? Never. I can't go. If I go and see them, I don't know what I might do to one of them. Judaism contains a thorough process for asking for and granting forgiveness. If you have hurt someone emotionally, you must seek them out, stand face to face, and apologize. They are not required to forgive you immediately, though. In fact, if they don't, you need to go to them not once more, but twice more before you are cleared of your wrongdoing. You must make yourself vulnerable up to 3 times before you can be cleared, to show that you really mean what you say. At that first meeting, Bushra almost walked away. Who wouldn't? the rage of the loss and the pain of it all. Then Roby asked her about her son. Though not an apology in the traditional sense, this was an olive branch. These women knew the pain of losing a child. Regardless of their religious beliefs and ideologies, they connected as mothers. The word teshuvah, which we often translate as repentance, comes from the Hebrew root shuv, meaning to turn. When we ask forgiveness and we forgive other people, we turn towards them. Forgiveness can be difficult, though. Sometimes it is easier to hurt than to move on. It can be a challenge to let go of something. It hurts more when someone we love hurts us. We care about them, and we know that they care about us. They are our support and our safe place. So when they do something counter to that, it shakes us. We want to protect ourselves from getting hurt again, so we pull back. If we forgive them, that means we are letting them back in, and we could get hurt again. Asking for forgiveness can be challenging too. We have to admit that we were wrong. We might be embarrassed by our behavior. On the surface level, it bruises our ego. More than either of these things, maybe the person will not forgive us. Can we handle that rejection? When we make mistakes, and we definitely will, we hope that others will be kind and understanding. This year and a half, especially, our patience has been tested. In the Talmud, the sages list 7 things that were created before the world. Teshuvah is one of the 7. Rabbi Vivi Meir offers an explanation that I think is a helpful framework. Mistakes are not a design flaw. It is part of what makes up the world. And if teshuvah existed before the world, then it's part of the natural order. Teshuvah exists because we were meant to make mistakes and learn from them. This can shift our perspective. Instead of punishing ourselves and others for our misdeeds, Rabbi Meir says we can rejoice in our flexibility and in the gift of second chances. Maybe this reframing can help us to find the patience and compassion to forgive and ask for forgiveness. That should be the ultimate goal in any attempt at forgiveness, to realize that there is a real person across from you, to find a way to hear their needs and express your own. We try to understand what we were feeling in the moment and why we reacted the way that we did, and then we try to understand the other person's feelings and needs. We work to make a compromise between what we need and what they need. Roby and Bushra did not need to forgive one another, but they did need to find a way to make meaning from their pain. Their ability to put their differences aside and focus on what they have in common is an inspiration. What a powerful example of what people can do when they come together. Roby and Bushra go to meetings of the Parent Circle and share their stories with other Israelis and Palestinians who have lost loved ones. For them, that space to make connections and build relationships is a way toward reconciliation and peace. They believe so strongly in the work of reconciliation that they travel around the world sharing their stories. When they could have turned away, Roby and Bushra turned toward one another. That seems to be the goal of the Parent Circle, to help Israelis and Palestinians turn towards each other. As Roby says, to find the humanity in the other, to realize the needs of both sides. In our world, there is so much that is political and so much that tears people apart. This story is about 2 human beings who had every right to hate each other. Not 2 nations, not 2 people, but 2 mothers who needed to let go of the hatred in their hearts and replace it with something new. Forgiveness. Our hearts are capable of it. While our day-to-day interactions might not be as fraught as Roby and Bushra's, we do make mistakes and hurt other people. In this new year, may we open our hearts to forgiveness. When we have the opportunity, may we give people the benefit of the doubt. May we choose to turn towards one another. Keni Hiratzon, may it be God's will.